Welcome to this edition of Political Smackdown. We're delighted that you've decided to sit and watch your TV or watch your computer and share with us what we talk about today. I have with me the regular crew. Andy Dedman is over to my extreme right, Mike Philbeck to my right, and to my left is Wes Westmoreland, and I'm Betsy Wells, your host today.
Andy, you and I will have to change seats, I believe.
I'm comfortable right here.
Andy's not to her left.
All right, guys.
Nor am I.
Well, you are on some things.
I thought he just was a libertarian on all things. But anyway, before we get into the questions, we want to do a tribute this morning. We want to recognize someone who has given many years of his life to public service, and that's David Cosby. David announced last week that he was retiring or resigning from the Shelby City Council after serving there for 10 years. We appreciate his dedicated service to the City Council and to the city and wish him well in his retirement. He certainly has enjoyed his time on the City Council, but you know, to everything there is a season. Mike, go ahead and talk about David.
Well, I've known David Cosby, I guess, most of my life. And he's just a little bit older than me. He just simply stood up at the end of the meeting and said that this was a hard thing for him to do, but he was 76 and he was tired and it was time for him to resign. And my understanding is it was effective immediately after that meeting. And so I did call and talk to David. He told me that no health issues that he knows of. He just knows he's getting older. He can tell it. He said he has grandchildren from Connecticut to Florida, and it's just time for more family time and less public service time. So I wish David well. He ran unopposed 2 years ago this November. And so whoever the city council wants to that lives in that ward in South Shelby, they can appoint, and because David resigned within 90 days of this year's election, whoever they appoint will serve to what would have been the end of his term in 2027. And that's entirely up to the other 5 members and mayor on city council. So, but I've known David a long time. He did have one person, Kenny Howell, who ran against him time before last or something like that, maybe his first time, and he won. Kenny used to play professional football, I believe, and if he still lives in that ward, don't know if he'll have any interest or who the city will want, but does create a vacancy. Apart from things that maybe we would have done a little differently or I would have done a little differently than David. David's the kind of person that we need to serve in public service in terms of his character, and I appreciate his willingness to serve for 10 years.
All right, Wes.
Well, I think that was a great statement, Mike, and I agree completely. You know, we appreciate all those who are willing to run for office, and particularly those who serve. Local politics is especially difficult. Mike, you've been there as mayor. They deal with these tough decisions, but it's not as broad-based, Andy, as we dealt with in Raleigh. This is friends and neighbors down the street that you're making decisions about. So it's difficult. It's a thankless job. And after 10 years on city council, David, thank you for your service. Betsy, also a good time to remind people, early voting starts Thursday, the 16th, at the Board of Elections on Patton Drive. David's seat will not be a part of that, as you mentioned, Mike, but a lot of these municipal races will be.
Okay, all right, Andy.
Well, David is a super nice guy. I used to see him walk up and down South Washington Street every day, and he never failed to wave at everybody that come around. I mean, just a super nice guy. And whoever takes his seat, it's changed so much in the city of Shelby. Issues, it's now more about than the potholes, of course. We've got our share of all kind of broke pavements and holes and everywhere with all the sewer lines being installed. But we've got a growing homeless population now that we used to never really have in Shelby. It's becoming more and more of a problem. So whoever takes his seat needs to have some ideas. And that's what we need more than anything is new ideas from new people. Kind of give new blood. So whoever takes it, I look forward to seeing who they are, and let's see what kind of ideas they got. But David, we appreciate your service, buddy.
All right, David, you've always been a good friend, and we certainly hope that you enjoy visiting your grandchildren or whatever. But thank you again for service to the City Council here in Shelby. Well, moving on, the Cleveland County Fair has closed down its 101st season, and it's into the planning for the 102nd fair in 2026. Over the years, I have been often asked about the fair's history. How does it operate? Who are the shareholders? When does the fair board meet? What are the challenges facing the fair? Who conducts the Miss Cleveland County Fair pageant? Allie Thackerson from Crest High School is the current 2025 Fair Queen, and there's her picture. And the Cleveland County Commission for Women conducts the fair pageant. But Andy, you're a shareholder in the fair. Tell us a little bit about the background of the fair.
Well, I want to get something clear right now. We do not get any dividends, period. There is no money trading hands between the fair and the shareholder, period.
Do get a stockholders pass.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. All right, here's what you get with a stockholder pass. You get in one time a day by yourself, period. That's it. You can't even
Well,
take
it's worth
anybody-
$10 a day.
But you would think as a stockholder you'd get a little something. When I first got my share back, gosh, early 2000s, you could go unlimited amount of times a day. You could take one person with you, unlimited, which, you know, that's not a bad thing. I mean, if you got a spouse or what, I mean, or I mean, that was all right, but it has got to where now you really don't have a benefit really. I mean, you go to the stockholders meeting the last Thursday of the fair, and there's nothing that really transacted. We don't even get the financials. The only time I've ever owned stock in something that you don't get a financial statement of what's going on. You never know. There's no set time, Betsy, when there's a board of directors meeting. My understanding is just whenever whoever the chair is at the time, they decide they want to have a meeting, they call the directors. Nobody else knows anything about it. So, I mean, there's really, I've just never seen anything operate quite like this. I mean, it is completely different. And, you know, you'd like to think there's some change come, but this is just one of those things that just never changes. And, you know, I would hope one time I thought there might be some changes coming. Some of us, there was some new blood come along, but they've kind of disabused us of that notion that it's going to change. So we've just kind of said, well, whatever's whatever. So we've just kind of just rolled along. So.
And the plot of ground that it's on is leased from the county. And I remember a few years ago, the lease was up, and they were talking about possibly moving the fair out on Highway 18 or something, but that collapsed. And I was noticing coming in when I came through the college this morning, the plot of ground looks so big whenever you've got all the rides there and everything, but now it looks small. But Mike, what you think?
Well, I think overall the Cleveland County Fair is good for Cleveland County. It's got a reputation being the largest county fair in the state.
Agricultural fair.
Agricultural county fair. It's a lot more than that now, of course. But my goodness, there's never a year that goes by, including this year, that some significant citizen doesn't tell me how much money it sucks out of Cleveland County for those 10 days. And of course, they're talking about some of the vendors who travel with the fair. They're talking about the carnival itself, and those are traveling people. They went to Aiken, South Carolina when they left Shelby this year. Nonetheless, given the exhibit hall, the agricultural part of it, the fun for Cleveland County kids on the rides, overall, it has to be a good thing for Cleveland County. And so, the thing that I think is most significant in the last 2 or 3 years.
What's that?
Well, number one, at some point they did away with seniors getting in for free. You get one day now. If you're a senior, you can get in for a couple dollars less.
Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, on Tuesday.
But it used to be seniors got in free.
I know.
And anyway, the prices of the food and the rides seem to have outpaced the incomes of your ordinary citizens. And I just can't help but to believe that for some families that used to have a good time, it's harder to afford to have a good time now.
Oh, I've heard a lot of
And
people
eat.
actually go and borrow money from some of these small loan companies to go, which that just, it's just unbelievable to me, but they do. I mean, because of what you said, Mike, it is just cost prohibitive
So
for
a,
the average folk.
turkey leg was $18 to $20.
$18 was the cheapest price. It went up to, I think somebody said 21, 22.
Well, there was one stand for 15, but still, that's a
Oh,
lot.
really?
There
For a
was
turkey
a
leg.
lot for a turkey leg.
I didn't even see that one.
But I do regret that that's happened, but maybe that's what they have to do to make it.
All right, Wes?
Well, you ask about the history. The fair started in 1923 when the Kiwanis Club
Kiwanis Club, yes.
started a move to combine local small community fairs, Boiling Springs, Falston, and Union, into a county fair, and this was in large part under the leadership of Omax Gardner, who was the club president at the time. Dr. Dorton was hired. We're all familiar with Dorton Arena. Dr. Dorton was a veterinarian here in Shelby, and ultimately ran the state fair, but built Cleveland County Fair into a significant fair. It's interesting, in 1927, Betsy, they extended the duration, the length of time the fair was in town for our black friends to attend. And then it wasn't until the Civil Rights Act that the fair allowed African Americans to attend at the same time white folks attended. Isn't that interesting?
I remember my dad telling me about that.
Yeah.
Does that mean the Shelby dynasty was racist, Betsy?
Well, not Omax Gardner.
Certainly the times
I
were.
mean, the times they are changing.
The water wheel came in 1963 from Peeler's Mill
Okay.
near Kaiser. So I found that interesting, but I do think overall it's a positive for the county, and I spent a great deal of time with cattle in the cattle barn there. Always have enjoyed it. I've not been the last couple of years. I can't enjoy a turkey leg for, what'd you say, $20?
18
A
to
big
21.
turkey leg.
You go to the grocery store and
That's
get
a
a whole
$40
turkey.
turkey.
Well, you can go get you a whole turkey for $20 probably.
Before you leave that, let me
Yeah.
say I was asking that question rhetorically and tongue-in-cheek. People of that time were products of their times, and we ought not to go back and second guess, but
Right.
just be glad for the progress we've made.
That's right.
And that's an
Now-
example of how far it's come.
And I went with my family on Saturday night. Now, you know the worst night to go to the
Holy
fair is
cow,
Saturday,
yes.
last Saturday night. It was shoulder to shoulder. It was so busy down around the fairs. And remember, I have granddaughters that's like 15 and 7. And they had a wonderful time. I never even got up to the exhibit booth hall. It was so busy. But I've always, when I came to Kings Mountain to teach, one of the first things I learned about was the Cleveland County Fair. And at that time, they had split term in the schools, and to get out and go pick cotton and then come back in. And sometimes it would be that the students would pick cotton so they'd have money for the fair. I know my husband did. But anyway, it is a big asset to Cleveland County, and I know that, and I thought that they did a really good job of upgrading the bathrooms, and they had more entertainment and more things to do, and I hope that next year we'll have another good Cleveland County Fair. So, all right, we're up now to where we need to break for commercial. Please come back and see the rest of Political Smackdown. Welcome back to the rest of Political Smackdown. Another fall event is scheduled for October the 16th, which is the 2025 Distinguished Women's Banquet at the LeGrand Center, beginning with the meal at 6:30. Tickets are on sale at the Cleveland County Arts Council through Monday, October the 13th. They're $50, and the Arts Council is open on today, Friday, from 9 to 4, tomorrow, Saturday, from 10 to 2, and then finally on the 13th, they'll be open from 9 to 4. So please go and get your tickets. This time there's sponsorships available if anyone wanted to get a table for $500 or dessert for $400 or flowers for $300, beverage for $25, $250. Printing was $250. Now the 2024 banquet was canceled last fall due to Hurricane Helene. Consequently, the 3 ladies selected then will be honored at this year's banquet. They are Caroline Dedman, and there's a picture of Caroline. Nautica Mason, with her book that she wrote, and Dr. Anita Ware. The event is sponsored by the Cleveland County Commission for Women, and this is our 32nd banquet. All right, Wes, any comments?
Well, just to say the mission of the organization is to uplift community-minded women through various activities and programs, recognition programs. Of course, the banquet is the headline event that began in 1992, I think.
It is.
To honor the women from the community. So congratulations to these 3 ladies, and I'm sure it'll be a nice event.
It will be. All right, Andy?
Well, I think it is great to have this, and shout out goes to my cousin Caroline. Glad to see she's getting an award like that. She's done a whole lot in this county over the years, from DOT on, and it's just great to see these ladies that are finally, especially the people that are not known that well. These ladies they're out there doing a lot of things, but they usually are the ones that don't really get noticed. So I think this is a great thing to do to where they are noticed and awarded for that.
And they have waited a year to finally get this award.
Yes, they
All
have.
right, Mike?
Well, the only one of this year's 3 ladies, or last year's being honored this year's 3 ladies, I know is Caroline Dedman. Andy, she's your cousin, but she's a 1970 graduate of Shelby High School, along with Patty and me. She was in our class. She's been at class reunions we've been to through the years, and we've known Caroline essentially our whole lives. So congratulations to Caroline and to these other ladies as well.
And Ms. Nadia Mason has written a children's book for her child, and it's very explicit about her child had somewhat of a birthmark on his eye, and so he looked a little different, and so she wrote this book. And Dr. Anita Ware started off as a teacher, then she became a principal, and now she's the priest at Redeemer here in Shelby, the Episcopal Church. It should be a great event. Please go by the Arts Council. That's today. This is October the 10th, tomorrow, October the 11th, and finally October the 13th, which is Monday. And get your ticket, because this will be a wonderful event for you, for the people that's being honored, and for those that come to see it. All right, so moving on. Another local event this week was a special forum held on October the 7th at 5 p.m. by the Cleveland County Board of Education concerning Marion School property. A Christian organization is wanting to buy the property and convert it into a site to help children. The event was not well published. What did the group decide? And also, I know there are some supporters who hope that Marion will be reopened as a public school since there's overcrowding at some of the elementary schools in the district. What do you think, Mike?
Well, first let me correct a misperception that occurred at the meeting by one of the people who were allowed to speak at public presentations. They made the point that essentially Jefferson, James Love, and Elizabeth are at 100% of what is called target capacity. That was the word they used. Here's what you need to know, according to sources that told me this week that have been active in the school system. That's about 85% of capacity at those 3 schools. Target capacity is about 85% of what you can handle. I don't know why there is 1 mobile unit at Jefferson. That is something that I need to know more about. And I'll also tell you this, there are 200 less people in Cleveland County, students in Cleveland County schools this year than last year, according to what I was told this week. So I think the capacity issue is a little bit wrongly stated and understood at the meeting. But one more, one less, a nonprofit that is growing, has church support in 17 counties, and they help provide and train people, provide foster care and train people for foster care. It's a pretty big organization. Jeff Marburger, who is from a family that's been here for many years, I think it's his dad has been on staff as associate pastor at Pleasant City Church for a long time. I know his mom well. This is he and his wife Mandy's real heart in their ministry, and this would work well for them. They would not put foster care children there to be kept. It would be where they would have supplies, office personnel, and be a relatively low density type use for that facility. It's about 6 or 7 acres. It's not that big. The school is old. It's in need of many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of repair over time. I honestly, Betsy, do not think the school system will come up with a better use for this. There are a zoning thing they got to get through with the city of Shelby, which seems like it would be doable. Because they're a 501c3, if the school board decides to sell the building to them in whatever manner they do, it does not have to be put out to bid. There is a process in the general statutes that Shelby has used, Cleveland County has used with us back when I was there in regards to the Walmart distribution center to where you don't have to put it up for bid. If it's put up for bid, it goes to the high bidder. And if they want to tear it down and build little houses that fit the minimum housing code all across that property, they could do it. I don't think it's going to be a school again, and I'm not sure that's where another school ought to be if we need another school. But honestly, I can't think that, from all I know today, that there would be a better outcome for that former school building.
All right, Andy?
Well, and I watched this called school board meeting, and I heard the presentation, and I thought it would be a very worthwhile use of the property. I truly do. And I think that a lot of the neighbors around, they want to go back to what it used to be with a neighborhood school. And I thought I think they really need to rethink it, because I don't see Marion ever going back to a neighborhood school. Because I talk to, like all of us, we know people that are on school board or ones that have worked around it. And to make that go back to a school, you're going to have to get it up to code. And I would be so afraid to know just asbestos remediation, because you know, as old as that building is, it has got a good bit somewhere in all the construction. You're going to have to get the plumbing brought up to code, because I'm sure there's a lot of lead, pipes involved. You're going to have to get the electrical up. It would be just a fiscal nightmare to try to do that. So I think the best thing they do is to talk to these people further. There's going to be another meeting for more feedback from the public.
On the 21st.
So I think that would be, it'd be
That's
very
appropriate.
It needs to be done, because there's a lot of people that did not know about this, because for some reason it didn't get out on the website as fast as it should be. So I mean, just for where people felt like they were heard, to where this could be, and I don't think there's a thing wrong with it, but I'm like Mike, I think this would be a very good use for the property.
All right, Wes?
I think it's been covered very well. I agree. I think this would be a great use. And I think it's unlikely that it is kept for a school. So it looks like a good use to me. It certainly would work in that community, be a great opportunity for what I understand to be a very worthwhile organization.
Do y'all know one of the reasons that Jefferson School has been the most crowded in the Shelby zone? One of the current school board members, Gloria Sherman, used to be principal there, and she built a climate where a lot of those people who's lived in the Marion School District and others got the board to transfer their children to Jefferson.
Really?
Because she built a culture at Jefferson School.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've known a lot of parents through the years that got their elementary age kids transferred out of their zone into the Jefferson School.
There've been a lot of good
Okay.
teachers there as well that have bought into that culture.
Well, we just don't forget that the second meeting of this a special meeting called by the school board is on the 21st. I'm not sure about the time. I heard it was 10, and then I heard it was 10 a.m., not 10 p.m. But anyway, but just tune into the website and
And
you'll.
if you go to the Cleveland County
Right.
Schools website, the staff is posting a lot of the facts about it for the public to have in advance of that meeting.
Good, good. Well, moving on. Let's go to the lightning round. All right, Andy, what have you got today?
Well, this is gonna make Wes happy, happy, happy.
Well, good.
Gold was sold at a new record of over $4,000 an ounce. Can you say Austrian economics? I bet you can.
I certainly could.
New record.
All right, Mike.
Well, we had an unfortunate thing to happen in August that came to light this week is Cecil Brockman, a House member from the 60th House District of North Carolina, was charged with statutory rape and other child sex crimes and has been in the Guilford County Jail without bond, had a medical incident, couldn't go to his first hearing. Mr. Brockman has voted with Republicans on budgets to the consternation, Betsy, of a lot of people in the Democratic Party and survived challenges in the primary doing that. And I hate it, but already, I mean, I hate it happened for him. I hate it happened for the child.
Right.
It's just a sad story, but it's unfortunately something we hear all too often. And from Governor Stein to the Democrats to the Republican speaker, they're already all calling for him to resign. And I don't think, unless something we don't know comes out quick, there's much chance he survives this.
Well, it's always awful when things like this come out. All right, Wes, tell us what's on your mind.
Well, a lot of things. I'll try to limit my time here, but it's been a tough week for Democrats, Betsy. I don't know if you noticed that. One of the things with the government shutdown I found interesting, of course, Democrats supported the end to the expansion of the Obamacare subsidies. The total cost of this Democrat plan just for this portion is $500 billion, which will be added to the nation's debt. This taxpayer money will go directly to insurance companies to hide the real cost of the coverage.
What?
Betsy, it's exactly where the subsidies go. Now, there can be no doubt that healthcare costs are rising and the issue needs attention, but hiding the cost is not a solution. Subsidies are nothing less than a political maneuver meant to gain votes by hiding the market-based solution to the problem.
And I noticed
How's that for Austrian?
That came up during the lightning round. Well, my lightning round pertains to Kings Mountain. Liberty Mountain, which we were very proud of our indoor historical drama, is concluding its 2025 season. They'll be doing 16 shows from its inception when it started on the weekends in September. But it's opening tonight, which is Friday, October the 10th, tomorrow, the 11th, and then the closing will be Sunday at 3 o'clock. If you have not seen it, I would highly encourage you to go. Every time I go see it, it has something different. And it is part of the history not only of Kings Mountain, but of our county.
And it's worth it to see the Joy Theater.
And the Joy Theater, right. And how they have added so much. The bathrooms are beautiful. The concession stand. Please go to Kings Mountain and see Liberty Mountain. Also, and while you're in Kings Mountain, go early on Saturday and go to Mountaineer Days, which is the outdoor festival for all of it. Well, that's all we've got. Hope you'll be back with us next week. Political Smackdown.